to Consumer Speak. At EY, we're helping business leaders answer two key questions. How is consumer behavior changing? And more importantly, what does it mean for my business? In our latest index, we see consumers moving on from the pandemic. They want to start making choices born from aspiration rather than necessity. They want to return to a normal life. But it will be a new version of normal. We see a compelling shift from a focus on my health and my wallet to a focus on me and my planet. For now, and for the first time, affordability is no longer a top concern. The planet is. Today, I'm talking about the consumer's need to consume better, and I'm joined by Jim Doucette, our global EY Parthenon Consumer Leader. Welcome, Jim. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Kristina.
So let me jump right in. The data is telling us that consumers are avoiding spending on unnecessary stuff, not just because it's good for their finances, but because they are being more considerate of waste, end of product life, and health of our planet. What's your take on that?
Well, thanks, Kristina. I think many consumers learned to live with less during the pandemic. For a long time, financial fears and affordability have consistently been top considerations, forcing most people to reevaluate what they buy and why. So as a result, many consumers realized that they had more than they really needed. Others decided to repair things rather than just buy new, and others switched from name brands to lower cost alternatives. In many ways, you could say consumers have broken the link between the sense of status that comes with owning something. So now there's a real sense of buying better rather than just buying more.
I agree. And I'd say in the past, shopping, whether online or in physical retail, was maybe a hobby or some sort of therapy or just something to do, really. But now we're seeing in our data that only 27% of people say buying things makes them happy, that it's something they do out of, emotion or what have you. And so I think there's a real question mark now, over shopping and consuming just for the point of it.
At the same time, what we're seeing is an uptick in people putting the planet first. They're paying more attention to the environment and the social implications for their purchases. They want to buy products that last. They want to be able to repair and repurpose what they have. And in some instances, they have no need to buy it and would prefer to rent it. So the ramifications of this shift in consumer behavior could be far-reaching.
Yeah, and I think those sort of models around renting and thrifting, that was really fringe before, but it seems to be becoming much more in the mainstream. I mean, those are some of the things that I'm seeing, that's for sure. So if consumers are ultimately buying less, that doesn't seem to jive with continuous growth. Where does that leave brands?
Well, consumers are basically asking brands to rethink their offering. If consumers want to look after the planet but still want quality products or products that don't need to be replaced as often, some companies are going to need to rethink their proposition. The existing what we call take, make, use, dispose model is losing its relevance. Consumers are expecting more from what they buy and from the brands that sell them. So companies will need to develop new business models if they're going to participate in the growing recycle and reuse economy. So to cite one example, a recent study stated that the US secondhand clothing market is projected to more than triple in value in the next 10 years. So, and of course, this dynamic is occurring in every segment of the consumer and retail industry, not just in apparel. So the result of this is many companies will have to closely examine how to capture more value from each stage of the product life cycle, how a product can be repaired, where it can be recycled, what component parts can be repurposed, etc. Some aspects of this change are directly in a company's control, such as the decision of where to source materials, but others require companies to invest in new infrastructure. So in some, we see a couple things that companies will need to do. They'll need to rethink their product portfolio. They'll need to discontinue or divest those parts of the portfolio that no longer align to their values. They'll need to streamline their assortments, and they'll have to determine how to participate in this new reuse and recycle ecosystem.
Do you think that buying less could be turned into a positive? Like you said, most Western economies are built on the idea of a cycle of production, consumption, and it keeps repeating over and over. And that's kind of the way we've been doing things. What do you think?
Yeah, Kristina, I think there's an opportunity here. There's still buying behavior going on. There's a way for companies to participate. But with this change in consumer behavior we're seeing and the sentiment that's changing, companies need to figure out how to be part of it. It's going to take courage, though. Doing more of the same isn't going to be good enough. Companies will need to overhaul their understanding of what consumers want and adopt an innovative mindset to determine how to meet those needs. So overall, I think we'll see many companies fundamentally reevaluate what they're doing and transform themselves over the next few years.
And I would say in the face of a consumer challenge like this, consumer-facing companies could turn this into a win-win situation. As you said, it's going to be tough, but especially if they have the right data, like you said, and consumer insight, and innovation and investment strategy. So it's going to be interesting to see how business leaders empower their teams to deliver on this. Looking forward to working with them actually on the challenge. So Jim, thanks for joining me today. It's been great chatting. And if you'd like to find out more about the future consumer, talk to EY.